The RV air conditioner on the roof of our garage, converted to a bedroom, has actually worked out really well. There are two issues that we're going to address in this video. Now, the first one, you can see the original curb created to support the RV air conditioner was not very deep, and the unit itself was cantilevered over quite a bit. And you can see we actually added a 2x4 in the back section to help support the RV air conditioner. So in our mods here, we're going to make a new curb, and it is going to be deep enough to provide that support. The second issue, and probably the bigger one, is we're going to add 2 inches of insulation to the roof and add a new roof. And that extra 2 inches means the depth from the top of the curb and to the top of the ceiling, that depth is now more than 6 inches. It's actually around 8 inches. And the installation of the RV calls for no more than 6 inches. So to accommodate this increase in depth, there are three things that we'll have to deal with besides building a new curb. The first is the hold-down bolts. We'll have to create new hold-down bolts that will extend those extra 2 inches. The second is the power cord going from the control box up to the air conditioner unit. That cord will now be too short, so we'll have to increase the length of that. There's another cord that has to be extended as well, and that's the freeze protection thermistor line. And then the third issue is the duct divider. The duct divider, without any cuts in it at all, only extends 6 inches, and so we'll have to extend that a couple of inches as well. Okay, here I made a curb out of 2x6s. So with a 2-inch insulation and a 1/2 inch ply, we'll still have a couple of inches of curb left for the air conditioner to sit above the roof. Here, this plywood, which goes on top, is a 1/2 inch wider in every dimension, and that's to give clearance over the roofing material that'll be coming up the curb. Here's the counter flashing. The sides come down 2 inches all the way around, and on the corners I soldered it with lead tin solder, and yeah, should be good. Nice counter flashing. Water won't get down underneath the roofing. And yeah, there's the 14 1/4 inch square hole that the air conditioner sits over. For the tie down bolts, we just use running thread and then ground down the last inch or so so that it would slip through the nut without engaging, to line up properly so you don't have any danger of cross threading. And on the other end, just spot welded a nut on the end to make the bolt head, and this should work out fine. The original hold down bolts were grade 5 hardened steel, but this mild steel running thread should work fine, because on the roof of the house the AC isn't bouncing down the road at 80 miles an hour. It just has to kind of locate it and keep it from drifting off anywhere. So the running thread is zinc plated, but where we ground down the end, and spot welded the nuts on to make the bolt head. That zinc wasn't there anymore, so as you can see, we use a little Rust-Oleum paint and protected the metal that way. So after some research, I was able to determine that the jack on the controller was a 6-position mate and lock connector, and was able to then get the duplicate jack and plug to make a short connector. Here you can see the wires going to the connector are not all the same size. In particular, the white wire top center is larger than the others. And here you can see that the white wire is actually a 12 gauge wire, and the other wires are all 14 gauge and smaller. So we'll need a 12 gauge pin and socket for the one, and the rest will all be 14 gauge. Here's a listing of the parts that I ordered from TE Connectivity: the jack, the plug, the 12 gauge pin and socket, and then 14 gauge pin and sockets, 5 of those. You can see we've got all our wires prepared with pins on one end, sockets on the other, 5 14 gauge and 1 12 gauge, which we've located top center in the plug, and we'll do the same for the socket and the jacket. Make sure they line up properly, and then of course the other 14s will just fall into place. Okay, here we have it. See all the sockets in the jacket, the 12 gauge white wire on top center, going to top center, and then all the blue 14 gauge going over to their respective positions between the plug and the jack. We have our little jumper all ready to go. And here you can see, lined up right, we have the white 12 gauge lining up with the white 12 gauge. All good. So here we got some 1-inch project foam from Home Depot, and we'll just glue it to the bottom of the duct divider and extend it by 2 inches. And the width of the actual foam piece here is 13 1/4 with a 1/2 inch of foam stripping on each side. So we'll cut this 13 1/4. We did get some foam stripping that we'll put on the side, and it should mate up real nice. Okay, we joined the tube with some silicone on the edge. Now I smeared some silicone on the face, and I'll put some aluminum foil over it, so we got nice shiny aluminum all the way down. With the aluminum foil glued on, makes for a nice shiny face. There you can see we added weather stripping around the edges. It's 3/4 inch by 7/16 inch thick, and that should work just about right. Alright, so I put a couple of channels for the divider to slide in so it doesn't move around. It's a 1 1/4 inch base aluminum channel, which has a 1 inch inside diameter and 1/8 inch thick, so that should work out pretty good. Okay, here you can see we have the divider in place, and on the other side we have the thermistor wire. We didn't need the jumper there. And on the power side, there's our little jumper. That's going to give us enough room to bring the bottom plate back up. All right, here's the outside, sitting on its new curb and counter flashing. Should be all good for the winter.